Ready?
We're here with Coach Norm Eash, the head football coach at Illinois Wesleyan University in Bloomington, Illinois. And Chiefpigskin is branching into the colleges now, and we're excited about having Coach Eash. They're the CCIW conference champions last year, made the playoffs. And if my memory serves me correctly, you guys lost to the Division III champs. The guys ended up winning. Is that right, Coach?
Yes, we did. We had a great year. We had a great group of seniors, 19 seniors that really were great leaders for us. And they also won the conference as sophomores. So this year they were on a mission. And we were very lucky to go through the conference. And we were co-champs with North Central, but we did beat North Central College head-to-head in an overtime game, and that gave us the automatic berth into the NCAA Division III playoffs, and was paired with Wabash in the first round, a great opponent. They came to our place, and that was a double overtime win, 42-35, and then by luck of the draw, we had to venture up to Wisconsin Whitewater and play them at their place, and they're a great program, and they went on to win the Division III National Championship. But overall, we had a great year, and I can't say enough about the CCIW, the College Conference of Illinois, Wisconsin. It's a great league with great coaches and great athletes, and I'm a big promoter of our conference. I think it's in the top 3 Division III conferences in the country. And so if you want to see good football and well-coached football, then try to get to a CCIW game.
Coach, I couldn't agree more. I've seen a lot of CCIW football down through the years, and the first thing that came to my mind was surprise. Surprise at the quality of football. It is good football, and I always loved watching it. And one thing I appreciated from the CCIW is I always just felt they were true student athletes out there on the field, and I like that.
Well, I think the CCIW does a very good job of promoting the philosophy of Division III, which is the student athlete. Academics do come first, and our athletes are not getting paid to play. They're paying for the love of the game, but they still want to have success and play for a championship. And so a lot of the student athletes that you find in the CCIW will go on and become doctors and lawyers and dentists and accountants. And you know, that's a great feeling as a coach, is to see your kids have success on the field, but it's even greater fulfillment for a coach to see your players have success off the field.
Well, I agree. I think it's a good league, a lot of good schools, and I've enjoyed watching the football played in this conference over the years. Coach, whether it's high school, college, Division I, Division II, Division III, small school, big school, what would be your keys to running a successful program? What are the kind of things that you try to do, you and as a staff, and whether you were here or anywhere else, what are some of the important things that you would focus on?
Well, that's a great question, because you know, I can answer it from both the high school standpoint and from the college. You know, I started my career at Streeter High School. I was an assistant coach there for 7 years, and then went on to become the head coach at Dwight High School for 5 years, and really got into college coaching kind of in a backdoor way. I didn't have any college coaching experience, but Illinois Wesleyan is a very family organization, and when my coach here at Illinois Wesleyan, my coach who I played for, Don Larson, retired, I was given the opportunity to come back here and lead the program, and that's a great honor, because it's a very traditional program, very historic program. We've been playing football here for 115 years, and so it was a great opportunity. But being from the high school level and then being in college and being in education and coaching for 36 years, you kind of take a step back and look at the reasons why you can have success. And I really think there's really 3 things that really come to mind when I think of what it takes to run a successful program. One is have great resolve. Resolve is a big word with me. There's a certain way to do something and you really believe in it. And the key to having success is making sure everyone, your staff, your support staff, and your players believe in what you're doing. So great resolve would be the first thing. If you don't have that and you have any doubt in your program, you're not going to win. The second thing is great organizational skills. Football is unique in many ways, different than other sports. You're dealing with numbers, strategy, I mean, it's just a completely different sport. And if you don't have great organizational skills, I think that you will fall behind and someone will outwork you in football. And the last one is being firm, fair, and consistent. You know, after 36 years, I've seen our society change. And kids are different now than what they were 5 years ago. But if you think in terms of how you relate to people in your program, whether it's staff or whether it's your players, if you remember to have great resolve, be firm in what you believe, be consistent, and then be fair, I think you can have success with that type of attitude and strategy.
Thanks, Coach. Would you do anything different now if you were a high school coach? You know, we've got a lot of high school coaches that view Chiefpigskin every day, and they're always learning. Take us back to when you were a high school coach, and if you had to do some things again, would you do anything different?
I don't think so. I think because our society is different, I guess the thing that I would say to high school coaches is don't surrender your values and your beliefs. The trend in our society, we're a throwaway society. Everything that we buy now, we don't fix anymore. When I was younger, you know, you would buy an appliance and you could fix it. Now, if something goes bad, you just throw it away. And then the other thing about our society is we're a do-over society. And let me explain that to you. You know, kids play video games all the time. And when they're playing a video game and they don't like the score, what do? They just stop it and do it over. And I don't think those are good lessons for our young people. And so I guess if I had to reach out to high school coaches, is be more of a traditionalist. You know, develop some morals and character in kids. Don't try to be the most popular coach, but be a coach that's well respected. Again, you have to adjust. You have to accept change, but at the same time, hang your hat or have a foundation of great character and integrity and things like that.
Are there any little things that you do to promote your program within the school here at Illinois Wesleyan or within the community? Any little tips or anything that you have found successful over the years to just get your program out there and to promote it?
Yeah, I think what you need to do, no matter where you're at. Now, for example, Illinois Wesleyan, I mentioned before, we've been playing football for 115 years. So we have a lot of traditions. And so I think you build on those traditions and you have your players buy into those traditions. If you're starting with a new program, then that would be exciting because you can start establishing some traditions. Because remember, the first thing I said to you was have great resolve, that there's a certain way to do it and that's the right way. And that's what you're asking kids to do, is asking kids to buy in. And so if you want to promote your program, you take a step back, see what you got. If it's a very historical and traditional program, build on those things. If it's a new program, establish those traditions, because young people like that. They like to play for something. And I think that they'll work hard, they'll be committed, they'll play for you if you approach them from that standpoint. And I think it's really, really important.
Very good, Coach. Let's shift a little bit to a coaching staff. What kind of things do you look for in assistant coaches? You know, a lot of the guys that get on Chiefpigskin are assistants, and some of them might be young assistants. And I can remember back to the days when I first started as an assistant, I wasn't real sure of exactly what was expected of me. And I think part of that was my fault because I didn't ask enough questions. And I would have liked a little more direction from my head coach sometimes also. Be that as it may, as a young coach or an assistant, what kind of things do you look for in an assistant coach?
First of all, let me say this. As a head coach, you're only as good as your assistants. And you're the one that's responsible for building that staff. First of all, recruiting that staff and then building that staff. And the one thing, probably the most important thing that I look for in our staff is loyalty. Number one, it's not how good you are at the X and O's part of the game, but it's how loyal you are and how committed you are, because everyone has to be on board if you're going to have success. And you know, I talk about your players believing, but your staff is the first step. And if they don't believe, then your players aren't going to believe. So loyalty is number one. I want also a great motivator with great organizational skills. Okay, you can't expect your players to be souped up if you're not souped up when you go out there every day. And when you cross over to the practice field, you gotta turn it up to high volume and get your players motivated, and then be very organized at the same time. No matter what level you're at, players need direction. And you can't give players direction without being highly organized. And football is unique. Again, I'm going to say it's probably the one sport that involves so many different facets of the game, and you have to have them all covered. And then the last thing, and I think every football coach will tell you this, is they have to be a tireless worker. And none of us get paid our worth for the time that we put in. But I don't know if we all coach for that reason. I think we coach because of the love of the game. But I would say that, just quick review, got to be extremely loyal, got to be a great motivator with great organizational skills, and be a tireless worker.
Thanks, Coach. I've often called football the ultimate team sport. And I know other team sports might get a little jealous about that, but when I look at all the components that go into football, I figured it out one day. I think I came up with 77 different possible starting positions when you go offense, defense, and all the special teams. So you've just got to be able to coordinate, to me, the ultimate team sport. So yeah. I agree, of course, but we're football coaches. As a football coach here at Wesleyan and coaching at the collegiate level, what kind of athletes do you look for? Now, I know we all want, big, fast, strong, agile kids, and we have off-season conditioning programs to try to get them to reach their full potential. And of course, obviously, we want them to be good students. Otherwise, they're not going to come to your school and make it. But when you guys are looking for athletes, are you focusing on one aspect more than the other? What kind of athletes are you looking for?
Yeah, I might take some time to answer that question. First of all, at Illinois Wesleyan, what we look for is the great student athlete. Our academics here are very, very high. I mean, the average ACT on campus is a 29, and the average ACT of our incoming freshman class this year is 27. So that's kind of the cards that have been dealt me, in regards to recruiting, and I don't mind that at all, because there's a great correlation between success in the classroom and success on the playing field. And our student athletes here are highly motivated, not only to be a great student athlete, but to go on and become a doctor, lawyer, dentist, and accountant, and so forth. So they have high goals, and I think that helps in us having success here. But as far as what I really look for kids, number one, that understand what it takes to have success. You have kids that are naturally talented, then you have kids that are overachievers, and I like both. I mean, I'm not going to turn away either one, but I want the young man that gets it, okay? And people might say, well, what do you mean by gets it? Well, they understand all the things that they have to do to be successful, and that could be anywhere from being able to handle adversity to being able to persevere, accept challenges, great work ethic, understand what commitment is. Those are all things that are very important. When I go out recruiting, though, I like young men that are highly recommended by their high school coach, in regards to being a great person, very involved with their school. I like kids that are very diverse, kids that are involved with other things. I do not like one-dimensional student athletes, that the only thing they do is football. I mean, it might seem strange I say that, but I like kids, number one. I like the 2- and 3-sport athlete in high school, and I see that deteriorating a little bit because of specialization. But actually, some of our best athletes that I get at the college level are kids that still play 2 or 3 sports. And kids that are also involved with other things, whether it's student government or the fine arts, very engaged in their community activities. Those are kids that are going to become leaders for you and be involved, because there's a saying that if you really want someone to get a job done for you, you find the person that is the most busiest. and that really is true. And so you know, I look for those kids that have had success in many areas and not just in football.
Thank you, Coach. One last thing here as we talk, is there anything that you see high school kids coming in that you wish they could be doing better, or maybe you think, oh, I wish that the coaches would cover this aspect a little more? Is there anything that you guys see that you talk about?
I would say this to high school coaches is lean towards being a traditionalist, you know. Help kids to understand perseverance. Actually, if you ask me if there's one trait that I look for in seniors when they graduate from college, whether they're going to be successful or not, it's the kids that know how to persevere. Because life is always going to throw you a curveball. And it's the kids that can't handle their adversity are the kids that struggle a little bit. So perseverance would be one. Teach them that. And when I talk about perseverance, you know, help kids to be persistent. You know, remember I mentioned before we're in a throwaway society. Let's eliminate that. Okay, help them find a way to get things done, and learn how to finish things. You know, establish life skills. I'm real big on life skills, and let me explain this to everyone what life skills are, because I think coaches are the last group of people in our society that can help young people with life skills because of the way our society is. But I think as a coach, you need to help kids understand that they need to develop character and integrity and be able to take on responsibilities and personal responsibilities, and then when you take on those responsibilities, to be accountable for your behavior in taking those on. And the last one, and it's a pet peeve of mine that I see is deteriorating a little bit, is help kids with punctuality. You know, I'm a traditionalist, and so in my day, you know, we have a saying here at Illinois Wesleyan, our kids repeat it all the time, if you're on time, you're late. If you're early, you're on time. And that's not the way our society is. And so help kids with that, with those life skills, because those are the things that will allow those young people to be successful later on in life.
Well, Coach, those are a lot of good points. I appreciate your thoughts on those things. As we wrap this interview up, is there anything else that you'd like to close with?
I would like to thank high school coaches for what they are. You know, I think high school coaches are still great examples to young people, and young people in their most formative years. And I think a lot of high school coaches help develop character and integrity. And I think majority of them set really good examples, and I still think that's really important. You know, impress upon young people to do things the right way. We have another saying here at Illinois Wesleyan is, if you do what's right, you're going to be all right. And I think that starts with the head coach or the coaching staff. And so, again, thanks to all the high school coaches for what they do. And just remember that it could be one thing that they have said or they have done that will stay with that young man for the rest of their lives. Good example of that is, I had a young man that played for me here, actually played for me, was my ball boy in high school, and then when I got the job at Illinois Wesleyan, came to Illinois Wesleyan, not the greatest athlete I ever had. In fact, he was a team player and probably didn't start at all in college. But he went on, and after graduating from college, went into the service and went over to Iraq. And he was in some battles, and he wrote me some letters, and one of the things he said, Coach Eash, getting through his experience over in Iraq, he kept remembering what I used to tell our players. And I would tell our players this after a game, whether it was a great win or a great loss. I would tell them that nothing is ever as good as it seems, and nothing is ever as bad as it seems, and you got to find that happy medium. And he wrote me a letter and said that was one of the things that kept him going. So an example to high school coaches, keep doing what you're doing, and you are making a difference in young men's lives.
Thank you, Coach. We appreciate that, and good luck to the Titans this fall.
Thank you very much. It was fun.